Sophia. I'm going to be presenting an autoethnographic account of the troubled teen industry. I spent 11 months in residential treatment between the ages of 16 and 17. So I created this from pulling all sorts of different records, police records, search and rescue, some of my own personal stuff, in order to kind of contextualize the rest of what we're talking about. So really quick, the troubled teen industry is a network of congregate care facilities that are marketed as therapeutic or rehabilitative options for teenagers with quote unquote behavioral issues. These facilities are private and for-profit, and because placement is made at the discretion of parents or guardians, there is no criteria that must be met to warrant a placement. So yeah, because it's private and there are no there's no federal oversight, there's really no safety systems in place because it is all for private and for profit. Okay, so my trajectory, so typically when people go through the troubled teen industry, they start by essentially getting legally kidnapped. So that happened to me. I got removed from my parents' house. They put an M1 hold on me. I spent 72 hours in a psych ward before I accepted my fate, which turned out to be a wilderness program in Utah. I was there. Typically those programs are between 8 and 14 weeks in duration, but I got kicked out after I ran away. After that, I spent 4 days at a safe house, which was just a house in a neighborhood in Utah that one of these transport companies were operating out of. They stuck me in the basement for like 4 days, and it was actually the most pleasant part of this entire time because no one was trying to work on me. I was just in the basement, whatever. Then I spent 6 weeks at a psychiatric evaluation center, and then after that I spent 9 months at a residential treatment center. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, transporters, legal kidnapping, we call it getting gooned. That's unfortunate in today's terminology, but the transporters are hired by the facilities to move unwilling participants into their programs. Teenagers are usually taken in the middle of the night, like they'll be woken up, that way they're very disoriented. I got gooned on November 15th, 2019. I was at my parents' house, but it was during the day because my dad had kicked me out. So I was at home picking up clothes and stuff. And then, sorry, I'm like nervous. I'm like okay recounting all of this, but my voice is still gonna shake. But yeah, basically what happened is I was standing in my room, a man opened the door, and the first thing he says to me is, "We're taking you to Utah." And I was like, "What the hell do you mean you're taking me to Utah?" I was like, "No, you're not." So then he started restraining me. 2 other women came into the room and they were also restraining me. Yeah, so I was resisting them. That's like to me the obvious response. I have no idea who these people are. But then my boyfriend at the time and 2 of our friends ended up showing up because they were gonna pick me up. So they hear me like screaming from upstairs, run into my parents' house, walk into my room where I'm actively being restrained by 3 people, and they're all like, "What the fuck?" So then the transporters are like, "Okay, we're calling the cops, you have to get out." So 4 officers showed up. I pulled the police report last year. They all had to fill one out. This was really like legitimizing to pull and be like, oh, this happened to me. Like this actually happened to me and it happened on paper. It's not just something that exists in my mind. So yeah, the treatment, the transporters like this, they'd been contacted by my parents to transport me to the wilderness program in Utah called Wingate. So I don't know exactly how that works. They work like for Wingate kind of, or they were like, yeah, I'm not really sure. This part disturbs me though, because the supervisor said they would not be able to transport me in my state, but the company does have teams equipped to transport restrained persons. So assuming they were, they probably would have either handcuffed me or zip tied. That's a pretty common experience for teenagers who go through this. Yeah, so they did fully restrain me. They pinned me to the floor. These are 4 officers. Also, mind you, I'm 16, weigh maybe 150 pounds. But yeah, they fully pinned me to the floor. They cuffed my hands behind my back. They cuffed my wrists. They do the full rip restraint between the both. And then they put the M1 hold on me. So I had to go to the psych ward for 3 days. This one makes me laugh because screaming, yelling, calling explicit names, overall rational behavior. Belligerent and irrational, but is that not kind of the rational response? So whatever. So then I went to the psych ward. I spent 3 days at a psych ward in Denver before I was like, well, this is my life now. So then the same 3 transporters drove me out to Utah from Denver. It took us about 8 hours, did it in one shot. we got to what their base camp is. It's in Kanab, Utah. Well, it was. This program doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, they like took all of my clothes, took my piercings out, like all of my personal effects, gave me, you know, my hiking gear or whatever, and they sent me up 2 more hours into the backwoods. So this is a really grainy picture, but this is what this is from Wingate. So the shtick with wilderness is you spend about 8 to 14 weeks pretty much just hiking. You do just very survivalistic. The kind of idea, like I said here, is it acts as this kind of therapeutic primer of like, if we can break you down so that we can like rebuild you or mold you into whatever we want to be. So yeah, we hiked between 6 and 8 miles a day, 5 days a week, and we had 2 days of rest. During one of those days of rest, we all had a therapist, so she would drive all the way out into the backwoods and meet with us. Yeah, we always had to be along, like we were like truly in the middle of nowhere, but we did have to be along some kind of access road because they would haul us water. So I was there for like, what was my next slide? Oh yeah, I was there for like 5 days, and then I ran away because I was like, truly would rather be dead of exposure than spend the next 4 months doing this, right? So yeah, they search and rescued me. I walked like 20 miles in 20 hours before search and rescue found me. And then after search and rescue found me, they did the whole shtick again. I'm zip tied, brought to the road, cuffed at my wrists, cuffed at my ankles, whole thing again. And I'm literally sobbing, like, please do not take me back out there. I'm like, please, like, fate worse than death, don't do that to me. But they did not end up taking me back. I got kicked out, which was really good and probably one of the most important ways that I've ever shown up for myself. But anyways, I've been on a journey of unpacking all of this over the last year. So this summer I actually went to Utah. This is me, and after search and rescue found me, they cuff me up, they do the whole shtick. They stick me in the back of this guy's truck. His name is Travis. He's the game warden, who's very kind to me. I'm locked in, like just the one seat in the back of his car. But he was very kind. He was like, that took a lot of willpower, like not a lot of people could do that, but you have to figure out what to do with that will. So yeah, it was really crazy to revisit. He actually had the GPS points of where the camp I ran away from was, where he started tracking me, and where search and rescue picked me up. So we drove that whole piece. It was 21.6 miles. We checked the odometer. So that was cool to like officially find out, 5 years later. So yeah. Next I went to, after that really quick, they kicked me out. My parents had to come retrieve me. They like took me to the St. George airport, left me with my parents. My parents were like, you're not going home. And I was like, where am I going? So they stuck me in this so we waited for a bed to open at this place, Viewpoint. It's a psychiatric evaluation center. They do a 6-week program. But before a bed opened, like I said, I had to go to the safe house. So yeah, it was just wherever the transporters are operating out of. I have no idea how to find that. I've tried, but yeah, it was just a random house. So then after a bed opened, they brought me here. It's like a 6-week program. So they do this whole evaluation, like medical evaluation, psychological. They come up with some like treatment plan, and then this is like never the last stop. It's like before you go to your next placement. So then they came up with whatever my transition plan was. Yeah, it was like a level system. This is one of the level slips. This is from my friend Claire, who I obviously met at Viewpoint. But yeah, every day they would give you like a level. It was either 1, 2, or 3, with 3 being the best. Yeah, so you would get this like daily grade depending on how much you are like participating in the programming. So this says, you're encouraged to get up and participate in programming. We are here to support you, and you need to do the same work. Have a wonderful day. So I don't think I ever got a 3 this whole time. Because again, I was like here against my will. I was like not doing all that. So yeah, I was very uncooperative. So when the time came for me to find a new program, I had 2 options left because I was so like, obviously I got kicked out of my wilderness program. I did not participate at this place. So nowhere really wanted me because it was clear that I was not going to like really participate. But I ended up at this place called Big Sky Academy. It's in Montana, outside of Missoula. This is some pictures of our campus. So like these were all dorms. I lived in this one, and these 2 also had groups in them. And then this was our like admin area. We would come here to do like formal therapy. And then we had like a school building, but like school, because it was not legitimate or like, yeah, at all. So yeah, these points were come up by the scholar Marcus Chatfield. He was supposed to be here today, but unfortunately could not make it, so I was very sad about that. But he did his dissertation on like retroactive accounts of the troubled teen industry. So he built these 7 like indicators of these programs, and it was so crazy for me like coming across these, because I was like, oh my god, that's like the language that I've been missing to describe what I went through. So yeah, the therapy model they used on me was called positive peer culture. It was a group therapy model where everyone lives together and moves at a group like literally 24/7. Like the only time you were not in the same room as everyone else is when you were showering in the bathroom, or at night you slept with, you know, there's like 4 people per room, whatever. So yeah, everything was based around this group work. Like you would call groups for yourselves and others, okay? And there were these 12 problem labels. So for like anything that happened, like if anyone did anything like what sort of like minor behavioral infraction, whatever, you'd be like, okay guys, I got a group, let's get a group. And everyone circles up, sits down, and then you would have to be like, okay, this group is for my easily angered problem. I need help processing this because I'm like angry, whatever. And then everyone gives you advice, or at least advice. You know, it was like attack therapy, so that's complicated. You could also call it for other people, so you could be like, this is for your easily angered problem, and then they would either be like, okay, I see it as a problem because, or they'd be like, I don't see it. And then if you don't see your group, you're not allowed to speak in it. So then everyone would just kind of be like, what don't you see? Like, whatever. Yeah, so I mean, I literally cannot communicate. I spent like, had to be like thousands of hours in I was at this program for 9 months. Yeah, I mean, we did this literally every single day, like all day, every day. So yeah, kind of okay, our time was very strictly budgeted. So like everything down to the hour was planned every single day. So we would have 3 meals a day. We would have, during the week, we would have like school, but any like free time had to be, you had to sign up for like an assignment. Yeah, the school also not legitimate or standard at all. My one of my high school science credits I got from essentially reading myself a textbook. And I think our math program, I had like Khan Academy, like, yeah, and I mean, I was only at this program for 9 months, and I spent 11 total months running this ring, but for teenagers who spend 2 to 3 years doing this, like, they're not getting an education, like, yeah, missing out on a significant amount of education. Yeah, we met with our therapist for a formal group session. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 times a week. But then like, it was essentially the same as like one of the groups we would do ourselves, except like with our therapist there. And it was an hour long specifically, so it was like, I don't know, it was what we did. And then yeah, we called their parents 2 times a week for 10 minutes. And then we had 1 hour long therapy session a week. But you like, okay, the big part of the shtick was that you have to be held accountable. And like, other people are going to hold you accountable, therefore you have to be witnessed 24/7 for everyone to do. So you didn't even, your therapy, like your family therapy session wasn't private, you still had to have a peer come and take notes to like report on you, and then after your family session you have to debrief everyone. So yeah, it was exhausting. Literally everything revolved around programming, like literally everything. Life was completely dominated by us, like by the PPC, and groups took precedence over literally everything, like meals, sleep, school, everything. Like if people were having a problem during a meal, we would go, you know, spend our meal time talking about it. If people were having a problem at night, none of us could go to bed until we resolve it, whatever. Like the school, I mean, that was a joke, like I said, that wasn't real school anyways, but like, yeah, we would miss entire days of school if people are like having a problem. Yeah, and there's like no way to opt out of this. There was just literally no way, because if you tried not to, even if you were just like passively not participating, you're gonna be put in group for not working the program. And it's like, yeah, it was like to the point of ludicrousy. So like I said, all of our time had to be budgeted. But say that we have like, we get a basketball court. So like maybe we would have an hour and a half of basketball. And if you're not playing basketball the entire time, you would get put in group. Like, it's just like, it's comical because like, well, because it's comical. Like, what do you mean that I have to, like, we all have to like at least make a half-ass effort at dribbling a ball, or we have to all get in group and be in trouble about it. So yeah, it was ludicrous. It was all encompassing. Even now it's like, I don't know how to really describe that environment. Like, I don't know how to communicate the way that this was like my entire life. This was all of our lives. Yeah. So like, yeah, bottom line, everything came down to these like super, prolonged interpersonal interactions, highly coercive, highly confrontational, highly confessional. Yeah, it was really painful. I still don't really know how to explain like the way this has imprinted itself on my psyche. Like, again, like and it's funny, I've spent so much time over the past couple years like reflecting on this experience, because this was between November of 2019 and October of 2020. So I was 16, I turned 17 when I was in treatment. And it's like, I don't know, like the further it gets into the rear view, the more difficult it becomes to explain, but it's still like, it affects me all the time. Like I'm so aware, because I mean, it's behavioral modification, and we'll talk about that, I guess, more in this panel, but like, yeah, it really still affects me in a way that like, I don't really know how to describe. So yeah. Oh, this one's funny. I was at BSA for 9 months. Do you guys know how many times I met one-on-one with a therapist? Does anyone want to take a guess? Not even once. Yeah. So yeah, conclusions, super ethically questionable. Like, there has to be better regulation. No one's eyes are on this. Like, yeah, and I mean, I had like, oh my God, yeah, the therapy we're doing was not evidence-based. It was so crazy, but there are definitely like programs where there are even worse things occurring, but just no one is there to see it. Like, there's really just no witness. So yeah, like also the outcomes are not good of these. Like, I mean, the whole process is so traumatizing, I guess, pretty much and I think that's something that took me a long time to like be ready to come to terms with, but like, yeah, this was really traumatizing for me. But yeah, I mean, you put these teenagers that need help into this environment, and then you don't give it. Like, again, like how was I here for 9 months and I did not ever meet one-on-one with a therapist? Instead, we're doing all this pseudo group therapy. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It does not prepare people for success at all, because you remove them from this environment, and also like if you put anyone in this environment, they would go crazy. Like, there's no way to like, I don't know, like it's not normal at all. And then yeah, because this is for profit, I definitely think it's human trafficking. There's like incentive every step along the way to funnel you into the next step because someone's making money. Like a lot of people end up, like the way this starts is like parents are looking for help for their teenage kid, because what do you do when you're, like, yeah, I'm sympathetic to the fact that there are not really better options. There's not good residential care, like therapy informed for teenagers. So yeah, I mean, parents are at a loss. What do? They get in touch with these people called educational consultants, and the educational consultants will recommend a placement. And a lot of the educational consultants work off of commission. So they are literally getting paid just to make a placement. It doesn't matter if it's needed, doesn't matter what placement it is, but as long as you get into the system, someone makes money. And then yeah, it's, oh my God, and it's like, yeah, it's ridiculously expensive for what it is. Like Wilderness, I think that was like $15,000 a month. Like, yeah. And then again, like, it's like, how long can we convince your parents that you need to be here so that we can keep sucking that money out? Yeah, and then like the inpatient psych facilities are like even more expensive. And then the residential treatment centers, I mean, still thousands of dollars a month, but that one can like vary. But then again, where is that money going? Because it's not going towards therapy. It's not going towards it's not going towards staff that know what they're doing. Like, I can say like, all of the staff here, they would hire anyone that was willing to work the hours, because it was like 48 hours on, 48 off, 72 hours on, 72 hours off. So like anyone that was willing to work this, they would hire. There was like one of our staff, like she would always joke about how her like degree was in fish and wildlife, and here she is working with at-risk teenagers. So yeah, none of that really makes sense. Oh, and the wilderness programs, I feel like those staff are even less qualified, because that's a full like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So then they're essentially looking for anyone who wants to live in their car and travel the West. You know what I mean? Get paid for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of the month, you can do whatever you want as long as you're back here. So, yeah. I don't know if I have it. Oh, I included this one because like, it really is crazy. This is a text from one of my friends. So after the program, we were at shutdown. She had to go to a different facility, and so the transporters took her and did this. So like, yeah, it is human trafficking. I don't really see any way around that. Yeah, finally, under research, people just genuinely do not know that this exists. this happens like, I could have a better number somewhere, but like about 60,000 teenagers a year are privately placed into these programs. And then there's some overlap. So like some children in the foster care system end up in these systems. They get funneled by the state. And that is also very questionable because, again, someone's making money off of these children's custody being placed in there. So, yeah, I mean, there's real and serious harm occurring. Yeah, and I mean, I look at what I went through, and I almost see it as kind of a best case scenario, which is really sad, but like, yeah, I had some real issues as a teenager. I sympathize with my parents, and I have a good relationship with my parents now. I mean, they've been very receptive to like me coming forward and talking about all of this. But, you know, I had parents who actually did care about me and wanted to help me, and the truth is that a lot of these teenagers don't. A lot of these teenagers have parents that essentially want to throw away their custody. They want to warehouse their kids somewhere. They oftentimes have never even like made a real attempt at getting their kids therapy. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.